Good morning, Rise and Freedom. I'm Austin Petersen. Happy Friday. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Wake Up America show. It's Family Friday. I'm joined in studio live now by my beautiful wife, Stephanie Petersen. Give her a round of applause. And since it's Family Friday, let's add 3 P's. 3P. 1, 2, 3P. This is my brother, Justin Petersen. Good morning, Justin.
Good morning.
Give him a round of applause.
Justin!
Nice to have you here, JP.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for coming on the program today. You had a bone to pick with us about our discussion about the whole Sadfishing topic, Justin. you want to weigh in?
Yeah,
on
I'm going to
this?
fight you.
All right, let's hear it.
It's okay.
No, I mean, here's the deal. Like, I get the arguments, but on the inverse of that is also this idea about toxic positivity, right? So you have this idea about people who are like super happy all the time. And it's like, ugh, that's not real. You're not being real. So they're always like, everything's great. Everything's always wonderful. I think Sadfishing, I mean, in the way you guys describe it in terms of like for clout, that's obviously an issue. But I also want to like just put out there that we're living in an unprecedented time of loneliness. People are very lonely, and especially around the holidays. This is not a happy time of year for a lot of people. This is actually a very sad time. So, it can be very depressing around the holidays if, for example, your grandparents are gone, your parents are gone, maybe you don't have children. I mean, so I see both sides of the argument, and I do absolutely understand where the argument of like, for clout, that is a problem. But I guess I get
they're
really
incentivized, right? So it's like,
yeah.
The thing is with the cloud, it's like you get 7 to 10 more times interaction when you sadfish, when you post.
Right.
Like, and we get people posting all kinds of like, you see them online and it's just the most trivial crap, Justin.
Right.
It's like,
right.
and which I understand, it's like, people have problems and things like that. But like,
Yeah.
there is such a thing as TMI, right? I mean, we're
sure, but also look for excuse me, look for patterns. Right.
Mm-hmm.
If this is a person who doesn't do that and all of a sudden they are doing it, like Stephanie said, that's a moment to like reach out and be like, hey, this person usually is posting things of a general tenor that are, upbeat and happy. And if they're like, oh, this is sad, it's like, oh, this is out of character for this person to post something like that. So what's going on?
Absolutely.
But like, even Eeyore.
Seriously. At first, until you have to take it seriously at first, until you realize what that person's motives really are.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think too, it's like even Eeyore gets to come to the party.
Mm-hmm.
So people aren't by nature, some people are not happy people. And, they didn't say to Eeyore, okay, Eeyore, you got to be happy. No, they were like, okay, Eeyore, come along. You can hang out with us,
And that's not what we're saying. We're not saying people have to be happy all the time. I was saying there needs to be a term called happy fishing because some people, like you said, toxic positivity, they're always posting, yay, me, look at me. I won this award. I did this great volunteer project.
Look how beautiful my wife is. Look how awesome my life is with my new show. And
it sickens people.
I guess it's like, for me, it's like
people.
gatekeeping. It's like gatekeeping for me. It's like, I'm going to get to tell you what you can or you can't post. And I just always have a problem with that.
But I mean, like, one of our favorite skits, Justin, from SNL, Debbie Downer. Right? You know what I'm talking about?
But hey,
just they cannot say anything.
Of course.
Nice about
but guess
ever.
what? Debbie got to still go to breakfast at Disneyland with everybody. She was still a part of the party,
God.
So, she wasn't maybe the happy one, but it was like, yeah, I don't know.
Okay. If you're just tuning in to the Wake Up America show with Austin Petersen, it's Family Friday. I've got my lovely wife, Stephanie Petersen, in here in the studio with me right now, as well as my brother, Justin Petersen, who's joining us live on stream. Justin, I brought you on here to talk about yesterday, the House of Representatives passed a bill. It passed out of the Senate, passed out of the House. We're expecting the President of the United States to sign it. This is the Respect for Marriage Act, and essentially this would protect gay married couples across the United States, protect their legal contracts with one another in such a way as to prevent the states from outlawing it or from interfering with these contracts that are already laid out. Your thoughts on this bill?
I mean, first of all, I'm wondering, the necessity of it came about because of Roe v. Wade, is from what I'm understanding, right?
So
fact that.
So I'll briefly explain this. Here's the Reader's Digest version. After Roe versus Wade was overturned, Justice Clarence Thomas immediately turned around and said, well, Obergefell was wrongly decided as well. And Senator Ted Cruz came out and said essentially the same thing. The conservative movement started, posting online about how they need to, we need to talk about pushing against gay marriage and getting Obergefell overturned. And so there were, the Democrats in Congress alongside 13 Republicans, including Missouri Senator Roy Blunt, banded together to pass this Respect for Marriage Act to prevent something like that from happening.
Was that mean? Is it I mean, obviously, you know how the government is, right? So they're always like inventing dragons that don't exist, and
Sure.
it's like in order to have a job.
Yeah, no, for
So
sure.
I'm always like, well, okay, so we had ruled that it was unconstitutional, right? Uh, through Obergefell, right? Because they were saying it was based on sex discrimination. So
Right.
it was saying you can't discriminate against the basis of sex, which is what
Yeah.
gay marriage was, right?
The
So,
new bill also includes interracial marriage as well
Yeah, I was
as
really interested by that
Mhm.
because I didn't think that was at risk.
You know, all of our rights are always at risk. You know, like
yeah.
I think it's whenever somebody is dismissive and is like, "Oh, the nobody's trying to take those rights away." It reminds when the conservatives say that, they're like, "Nobody's trying to stop gay marriage. Nobody's trying to stop interracial marriage." I'm like, "Bullshit." Oh,
Hmm.
just how the left says, "Nobody's trying to take your guns. Nobody's trying to take your guns."
Hmm.
Absolutely, there
When
are
they say
people.
they're not, they are.
Yeah, when they say
Yeah.
that they're not, they probably are. You know.
Well, I mean, again, it's just the fascination with people, what people do in the privacy of their own homes. It's
Mhm.
like, and how they live their private lives. You,
Why conservatives are so obsessed with butt sex, I will never understand, but,
my other thing is this, like, the idea of gay marriage is a conservative idea.
oh, dude,
It's not a
that
liberal.
makes them so angry when I say that.
Marriage,
Yeah, I said that
conservative.
yeah,
Yeah,
I stole that from Christopher Hitchens when I read it in one of his books where he says that gay marriage represents, homosexuals becoming more socially conservative and adopting
correct.
conservative values. When I said that on Timcast, like 2 times ago that I was on, I mean, the conservatives lost their minds because they
Right,
can't
because
go ahead.
what's the alternative? You know what the
Mhm,
alternative is polyamory, right?
mhm,
This idea of like we're gonna have 3 and 4 and 5 girlfriends, boyfriends. I mean, queer theory and queer sexuality
mhm,
is not based on marriage and family orientation and stability of a domestic life. It rejects those things
mhm.
completely, you know, because the whole project has been to deconstruct sexual relationships.
So, what do you think about the institution of gay marriage, Justin? I mean, like it's a relatively new phenomenon in the United States. I don't know about like throughout like, ancient history or the classical history or the West. I mean, pre-Christian history, for all we know, it could have been, fairly common. But I mean, what's your
Right.
opinion on the institution as such as it is, since it does go against, typical queer theory?
Well, I mean, the idea of it in terms of why it came about was, at
Mhm,
least in my understanding, is that because there were so many legal legal and governmental restrictions that were not able to be passed on to a same-sex partner. So, for example, inheritances or even hospital visitations. That was the thing that always killed me. It's like you could be with someone for 25 years and then go into a hospital and they'd be like, "Are you next of kin? Are you relative?" "No, I'm their partner." "Well, sorry, we can't give you access to this person while they're dying." I mean, like
mhm,
anybody with a heart that has any compassion for human beings could say that's not correct. That's wrong. The thing about marriage on the queer side is that they look at it as heteronormative, right? To be getting gay married, it's like, why would you want to go into a heteronormative gay or straight institution? Um, so I mean, I think, but again, I have many gay friends who are married with children, and they have this, I get Christmas cards, right, for my gay friends with kids, and they're like, "Here's our Christmas card," and I'm like, "This is like a picture of domestic bliss," right?
mhm.
So I just don't understand. Like you said, I don't understand the. Well, I do understand it because it's authoritarianism. At the end of the
Mm,
day, it's about controlling other people and
mhm.
telling what they can do and how they can live their lives,
I
which
mean,
is an infringement.
I hear some of these people in recent weeks, praising the views of the Taliban, right? Because of how socially conservative the Taliban are. And I mean, we're essentially talking about the American Taliban. If you're just
Right.
tuning into the Wake Up America show with Austin Petersen, I'm AP. I'm joined in studio by my wife, Stephanie Peterson, and we're speaking to my brother, Justin Peterson. It's Family Friday, so we're having a little bit of a Peterson family gathering. We're talking about the news of the day. Stephanie, before I said anything, you look like you wanted to say something before I.
Yeah, well, what came to mind was a lot of religious people don't believe in gay people
Right.
anyway.
Right,
They think
Right.
that if you're gay, you can just change your behaviors and
mhm,
do
Correct.
conversion therapy.
mhm.
So it's like they're in denial anyway.
Right, right.
So
I
why
mean,
would they believe in marriage between same-sex partners?
Well,
Because
and
they don't
why
even
would you
believe in
want
gay
people that
people.
don't share your religious beliefs to believe the way you do? I am so
Right.
sick of this. I'm so effing. It makes me want to literally rage quit life.
explain.
Well, I'm on a diet, so you can't have donuts. Like, why does my life affect your diet?
That makes complete sense.
Eat all the vegetables you want to, live in your garden and your, ecological happiness. Leave me alone. Stop trying to make me live according to the strictures of your religious beliefs. Your own religion doesn't agree with itself.
Right.
Why don't the Baptists believe what the Lutherans believe, what the Episcopalians believe, what the such and such believe?
Well, maybe that's what we
Show
need to
me
do.
some unity in your Christian beliefs, and then I'll listen to what you have to say.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
don't get me started.
Oh, dude, we're getting you started, baby. It's a great, this is great stuff. I think it's
This
really
is triggering stuff.
absolutely, absolutely. So here's the thing, Justin, and I'm going to segue topics just a little bit, but I think one of the reasons why, unfortunately, the battle for marriage equality is now so challenging is because so many of the people who espouse what you call queer theory are out there making your community
Right.
look bad, look very
Correct.
bad. As a matter of
Bad
fact,
actors.
bad actors. So we're
Mhm.
seeing, so for example, this video, which I haven't had a chance to play just yet this morning, from Veritas Project. Did you have a chance to watch this? This dean of students at this private school in
Yeah.
Chicago?
It
I
really,
haven't seen
yeah.
it.
You
I
watched it?
try to limit because it makes me sad fish.
Mhm. Yeah.
That's good. That's a
Yeah.
good coping skill. Try not to look at negative things when you are feeling sad.
Well, but
Look at
Ah!
more positive
here's
things.
the thing. I'll just explain it to you because I don't want to get demonetized on YouTube just yet. Maybe I will anyway. But the a dean of students at a private school in Chicago is talking about them passing around sex toys to minors and teaching them how to use them, bringing in drag
Oh, wow.
queens.
That's sex education now?
That's sex
Right.
education now in a private school in Chicago, and
Wow.
he's talking about like how he has a drag queen sitting there, and they're teaching them the difference between spitting on it and lube and all that stuff. And we'll leave those. That's as far as we'll go with the explanations of this. But Justin, things like that don't make it easy for people like myself who are deeply embedded in the conservative movement as a sort of like libertarian plant. It makes my life a hell of a lot harder fighting for marriage
Mm.
equality when things like that are happening.
Oh, 1000%. It makes it hard to be, when people see you and then they, again, because of how this is all shaking out, then they, what's the word I'm looking for? They sort of have a heuristic, right? Where they see you and they go, oh, you're a such and such identity marker. So then you must be like everyone else.
Right.
You must be, your immutable characteristics make you exactly who you are. The
Mhm.
issue that the way they were framing that argument was that they said, well, the kids are going to see stuff online that's, they're just going to see it online. Well, they're
One of
also
our
going to see beheadings online, but we don't do beheadings in school.
That's where
Like,
parents need to step
yeah,
in and
conservatives
actually monitor their child's online
yeah,
activity.
I mean,
conservatives do not
really,
apply the same standards to violence that they do to sexuality.
no.
One of our new friends over in the live stream, her name is Hikaru. She
Oh,
is Yeah,
hi.
Hikaru, she's one of our she's transgender, she's openly transgender.
Yes.
She was making some comments about how she loves hearing voices like Justin's on this topic because, it's nice to hear some people who are actually, I guess, level-headed, middle of the road on this because frequently we always only hear from the radicals of any
Right.
side, right? But I mean, when you see like that Veritas Project report, when you see videos like that, that makes me that's when I start to side with the conservatives because I'm like, hey, listen, these kinds of things I've always been someone who believes that the rights of children and the rights of adults are separate.
Mhm.
That there's some overlap, but that children's rights are essentially held in escrow by either parents or the government until they reach the age of attainment. But
Right.
leftists and some libertarians keep trying to push the envelope at a lower and lower age of consent. And
Mhm.
my argument for that is because they are attempting to cover up for their beliefs and their desires that would see them put in prison if they were acted upon, Justin. I mean, we're talking about predators, and I don't understand why the left seems so intent on protecting predators because I think the natural inclination is to believe that it's because they're predators themselves.
I think it has to do with pushing this Overton window because it's this idea of what's acceptable, right? Um, and that's always how the left works. The ratchet only moves in one direction, right? So the right is never, sorry y'all, it's never in a active mode. It's always in a reactive mode to what the left is doing. They are
Yes.
never acting on their own. They're always reacting to something that the left is pulling us, and the right is just going, oh no, with this way. So they're never in thesis, they're always in antithesis, right? If we're looking at the Hegelian dialectic,
Right.
it's always the left pushing, and then everyone going, what are you doing? I mean, if you told me, 20 years ago, I'd been in a gay bar in Lawrence, Kansas, or Kansas City or Iowa, and I saw children in the gay bar, I would have been like, what? Why the hell are there children in this gay bar? What the hell are there
Right. That
children doing
shouldn't be
here?
allowed.
And now it's like normal because that's how it works. Like you push something, and then the immediate thing to do is push it to the very far extreme, and then accuse the people who say no to it as being bigoted, racist, homophobic, transphobic, whatever, so that they're immediately labeled as, well, you're just this. You're just this.
People just
And
send the message the wrong way. It's just like
yep.
libertarians. They're like, "Hey, join us," and then you see like stoners on camera doing podcasts. And then people are like, "No, I don't want to be part of that." But that's not really what
I mean,
libertarianism
no,
is.
for sure. Quite literally, like the one of the reasons that I like set up my show the way that this is that like I'm openly a libertarian, right?
Mhm.
Philosophically a libertarian, but you're not going to see me doing drugs on camera.
Right.
Very rarely do I swear, which I did a little bit earlier on this program. But I mean, it's I've got my button for a reason, right?
You're giving a good name to the
Yeah, I
libertarians.
want to try and make us look good to the
Hmm.
community because there are a lot of them who are making us look bad. And PR is real. If you have if a political viewpoint and things like that, you should want your absolute best ambassadors to be the ones who are
Right.
going out there. But what's unfortunate is that it seems as if like the absolute worst of the ambassadors of each philosophy are the ones who rise
Mhm.
to the top and are put out there as representatives.
Well, let me come back to this idea about gay marriage. Insofar as what you're saying,
Mhm.
the gay marriage thing happened really largely because the uh, presentation, let's say in media, changed. In other words, like you get a show like Will and Grace on TV, which shows gay people as being funny every day, your next door neighbor. And when someone is not as funny and you like to watch them on TV and whatever, it softens your sort of opinion of somebody, and you go, oh, well, they're just
Mhm.
like me. They're just like who
You're
I am.
forming emotional connections with these people you see.
And what's going on today is not about emotional connection. It's about disassociation with the other, calling someone names, giving them, that doesn't build bridges. That doesn't build connection. In other words, how can I be your ally if you call me names?
Mm.
How can
Mm.
I be your ally in your fight for whatever it is that you're fighting for if you're calling me, a cis het white male? I'm not going to be on your side. I'm not going to be on your side.
If you're just tuning into the Wake Up America show with Austin Petersen, you can send us a text message for free at 573-319-1586. Alternatively, if you'd like to have a message sent to the show that you'd like read on air, you can send us a super chat, and that is a way to make a small donation to the program and to help us to build and thrive and to get support. And it's you can do it over there on YouTube. If this is your first time watching the show this morning, do me a favor. Make sure that you click like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification icon so that you can get a notification whenever we go live. Right now, I'm joined in studio by my wife, Stephanie Petersen, who's here with me, as well as my brother, Justin Petersen, who's live with us on camera from Boston. Justin, so just to kind of put a bow on this topic here, we talked about the institution of gay marriage, and we talked about the groomers online, and we've discussed a little bit about sadfishing online. Give us your thoughts, just overall. Where do you see like the LGBT movement headed? Will there be eventually a split of the movement from people who are, you know, um, who will actively oppose the kinds of things that we're seeing in like, this grooming that's going on? Or do you think that the LGBT movement, because of the threat of that comes from conservatism, do you see it staying in solidarity despite all of the, I guess, immoral hedonistic behavior that's going on at this time?
I don't think it's sustainable. Um, when I look at the future, I don't think it's sustainable for the entire community to stay as coalesced as it is. I mean, when I think about what's going on here in Boston, our Pride parade was literally canceled. Like they don't do it anymore because of the infighting. I mean, you and
Wow.
I both know that intersectionality eventually eats everything. It's like a snake eating its tail. Eventually, it eats everything and it consumes everything. So I do not believe that these ideologies are generative. I don't believe that anything that these ideas do generate things. I think they aim to destroy and to dismantle and to disrupt. Those are not generative ideas. So I can't imagine that it will be a future focused success story when it comes to the unification of this community. I don't even like to use the word community because it somehow indicates that we all agree or we're all the same. There's only one thing that unites gay people. I'll let your imagination run wild. And that's about it, right? We come from different religious backgrounds. There are gay Christians, there are Muslim Christians, there are gay, there are gay,
Or Muslims.
yeah, gay Muslims, there's gay, there's gay conservatives, there's gay libertarians, there's gay. We're not a monolith. We're not a monolith. And I think that this sort of what I'm coming to be seen as called forced teaming. I don't know if you've heard that expression yet, where you bring forced teamed with a group of people. And it's like, well, you're just in this group. And it's like, no, I'm not. I didn't sign up for this.
Forced teaming.
It's like putting all redheads together. It's like all we have in common is that we have red hair.
Yeah, exactly.
When I hear forced teaming, I think that's some kind of like sex act.
Well, but like there's gay lumberjacks. Okay, like this idea that we're all the same, that we're all mincing queens, and that we're all like going to Judy Garland concerts and like making out in the bathroom.
Justin, I mean, you go to Judy Garland. Don't be talking about yourself there, Judy Garland fan.
Gotta work it a little bit. Gotta work it a little bit. No,
if they brought Judy Garland back in AI form or whatever, or some hologram, you'd go to that concert.
We all would go to see her.
Where's the lie? I mean, and you would probably go too, Austin. So shut up.
Drag me along to something like that. All right, Justin Petersen, my brother, all the way from Boston. We can't wait to see you soon here, brother.
Love you.
Family Friday. Let's make it a thing.
Family
I love
Friday.
it.
Let's make it a thing. If you want to do that on the stream, make sure that you give us a like and comment. Say yes to Family Friday. We'd love to hear from that. Justin, about an hour, a little bit less than from an hour from now, Stephanie and I are going to do a gift exchange on the show around 8:30 a.m., 9:30 your time. So definitely come back and watch it because I think it's going to be fun.
Well, I got to go do my workout now because I gotta stay buff so I can stay hot.
That's right, self-care.
Okay, brother. All right, don't force team me. I'll see you a little bit later. Love you, brother.
Love you too. Bye.